One life is going to test you. Life is going to throw you unanticipated obstacles, surprise you with things you didn't plan for, and sometimes it'll appear that everything is happening at the same time. Pressure from every side, stress piling up, people pushing your buttons, situations spiraling out of control. That's life. The chaos is certain. But here's the thing, your power does not lie in what comes your way. It lies in how you respond. You've got to own your answer. That's where your liberty is. That's where your development is. Because no matter how terrible it gets out here in the storm, if you've got peace in here, none of it matters. When life unravels around you, the world will seek to pull you into madness. It'll try to force you to react emotionally, instinctively, to lash out in fear, anger, or frustration. But those are the moments that define you. When your back is against the wall, do you go crazy or do you hold ground? Do you fold when things get tough? Or do you break, take a deep breath, and respond like somebody who's been around the block a few times? You see, that calm of mind, that stillness in the storm, it isn't weakness. That's not passivity. That's strength. That's control. That's strength under pressure. And that's what separates the great from the good. You can't always prevent life from becoming messy. You can't predict every setback. But what you can do, what you absolutely have to do, is train your mind to stay calm in the midst of it all. You have to be in charge of your own state of mind. Because once you realize that no one can take away your peace from you unless you allow them, that's when you free yourself from victimization. You don't allow every little thing to catch your attention. You don't blame the world anymore, and you start to conquer yourself. And I'm not saying it is simple. I'm not saying you'll get it right all the time, but every test that challenges you is a chance to hone. Every pesky conversation, every unexpected setback, every failure on a personal level, it's all a chance to get tougher. The moment you find yourself losing it due to frustration, recognize it, stop, breathe, ask yourself, am I responding in a way that serves me, or am I hurting myself? This basic awareness is the beginning of mastering your emotions. And then from there, you begin to rewire your default response. You condition your mind to choose calm over chaos, discipline, not drama. Because when you're in reaction mode, you don't get to choose anything. You're being puppeted by everyone around you. Someone says something and you lose your cool. Something happens other than what you wanted and you freak out. But when you take ownership of your response, you get your power back. You stop letting your feelings control you and you start becoming aware with your energy. That's when you move beyond surviving and start leading your life, your mind, your destiny. So if you want to stand out, if you want to grow, stop trying to change the world around you and start changing your world inside. Own your reaction. Make that inner calm. Because when the world outside is nuts and you remain sane, that's when others take notice. That's when you become the rock that people rely on. That's when you start winning, not on the outside, but from the inside out. Remember, craziness will come. But how you respond, that's always in your hands. Choose calm. Choose discipline. Choose growth. A lot of us think calmness is a genetic thing. We see someone who stays even keel when they're getting worked up, and we describe them as that's just their personality. But that's a myth we keep around so we don't have to put in the work. Because calm isn't something you are or aren't. It's a skill. It's something you practice. It's something you build. Just like you build brawn in the gym or sharpen your focus to repetition, you develop equanimity by making a choice again and again to respond another way. It has nothing to do with passivity. It has nothing to do with not feeling anything. It has everything to do with feeling in control. Calm is something you train your mind to do no matter what is going on around you. Look, you're not going to magically wake up one day and be calm when everything in your life is stressful. You've got to earn that stillness. You've got to build it through experience, through trials, through the fire. You've got to mess up a few times, lash out, lose your cool, make some mistakes, and then reflect. You've got to see yourself and say, I don't like the way I reacted. I know I can do better. That's where it starts. Self-awareness. Accountability, the decision to change. Every day gives you little opportunities to practice. When somebody cuts you off on the road, don't react, practice. When the plane crashes, don't lose it, practice. When somebody disrespects you, don't blow up, practice. When your feelings start to flare up, stop, breathe, and train. That's your gym. That's your mental training. Every time you choose patience over panic, you're getting stronger. Every time you choose understanding over outrage, you're leveling up. Every time you breathe and choose to speak from purpose rather than impulse, you're becoming someone who doesn't just survive the chaos, but leads out of it. You know, calmness is not weakness. It's not some weak, quiet thing. It's powerful. It's disciplined. It's intense because it means that you've mastered yourself. Anybody can yell. Anybody can lose their mind. Anybody can blame when things go wrong. It takes real strength, though, to stay cool while the rest of the world goes crazy. It takes control to hold your tongue when your ego is screaming to speak. It requires genius to listen first and then criticize. That level of calmness, that's what creates leaders, not followers. That's how it becomes a standard. That's how it gains respect. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need to wait for anyone to allow you to start training this. You don't need to wait for perfect conditions or a perfect environment. You need to just choose. Decide to want to be on purpose with your mind. You need to get yourself to where you start catching yourself in the moment. When you feel that feeling of emotion rising up, pause. Don't respond, contemplate. Take a step back, ask yourself, what's really going on here? What's the best way to proceed? That moment of clarity, that pause, that's your power. Don't wait for peace to come from outside of you. Don't wait for life to be easy before you decide to be calm. Train where you are. Train in the middle of the mess. Build that muscle every day, because the world doesn't need more people who respond emotionally to every situation. It needs people who are stable, who are centered, who can keep their heads when things go wild and react with force and wisdom. That's what you become when you train for calm. Not a calm person, but a powerful one. We live in a world that too often confuses loud with power. But real power doesn't make a show. Real power is quiet. It's composed. It's controlled. Emotional control is the base of real strength. You don't demonstrate how strong you are by how loud you yell when something goes wrong. You demonstrate it by how still you stand when everything is shaking. Because anybody can react. Anyone can let their feelings get the best of them. But it's another level of discipline to stay focused when you're being pressured, to keep your feelings in check and not let them carry you away into chaos. When the world pressures you, you'll see what you're really made of. You can have all the tactics, all the belief, all the motivation. But when pressure hits, when individuals disappoint you, when things break down how you cope, that is the authentic test. You can't fake calm during the tempest. You're either managing your emotions or you're not. And if you're not, then your emotions are a handicap. They start telling your choices, your answers, your interpersonal relationships. One explosion of rage can cost you trust. One impulsive move can set you back months. One emotional breakdown at the wrong moment can destroy a bridge you needed. You've got to realize that emotions are powerful, but just when you're in charge of them, not when they're in charge of you. It does not equate to you not feeling. You're not a machine. You're going to be angry. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be hurt, but you do not let those feelings dictate you. You get to pause, to sit, to relate to them, and then move with wisdom, not with feelings. That's strength. That's leadership. That's being an adult, because yelling back doesn't make you strong. Posting a message when angry doesn't make you brave. Saying the first thing that comes to mind doesn't make you honest. It makes you undisciplined. You've got to learn to tolerate the tension without reacting, to carry the weight without handing it off to someone else, to breathe when your ego is screaming at you to lash out. That's emotional control. That's not something you're born with. It's something you build, one moment at a time, one choice at a time, one breath at a time. As you master your emotions, you become dangerous in the best sense. You're unmovable. You don't rise and fall with each situation. You don't give your peace to people who don't deserve it. You enter each room with inconsistent energy, and that's what people sense. They sense that calmness, that discipline, that quiet power, and they respect that. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to justify it. It's there. The way you move around, the way you speak clearly, the way you don't let outer disturbances affect your inner focus. So you ask yourself, who are you when you're under pressure? Are you letting your feelings sweep you off character? Or are you grounding yourself on discipline? Because if you ever want to reach the next level, no matter where that next level is, whether it's your life, your career, your relationship, you're going to have to take control of your emotional state. It's not an option. Control of emotions is the foundation of strength. And if your foundation isn't strong, you can't build anything real on it. So lock down, do the work, get calm, stay concentrated, and show the world what real power looks like. There is a time in every difficult time when you have a decision, a moment of split seconds when your reaction can create peace or ignite further turmoil. That is the power of staying calm. It is not the circumstances that determine the result, but your reaction to them. Not many understand this. They think the circumstance makes it happen, but it isn't the circumstance. It's them. It's how they react. That's where it all comes down. Your response can make the storm rage or quiet it. It can put fuel on the flames or douse it before it even begins. And the ones who get this, who live this, those are the leaders. Those are the ones that ascend above. Consider this. Someone is disrespecting you, talking down to you, attempting to get a rise out of you. What do most do? They respond to that energy. They reflect that heat. The problem is, when you respond back in emotion, you lose your authority. You become a mirror of the mess you're dealing with instead of a thermostat that controls the temperature. And when you respond to that bad energy, you're no longer in control. They pulled you out of your personality and you let them. But when you stay cool, when you keep a steady tone, your posture firm, your voice strong but easy, you break the chain. You douse the flames. And sometimes just your coolness is enough to change the whole room. This is why learning to control your responses is so crucial. It's a leadership quality. The people around you learn from how you respond. If you freak out, they yell. But if you stay calm, they equivocate, they adjust. Your energy is the anchor. You're the person that people go to when the storm comes because your calmness is stability. And that doesn't equal to allowing people to walk all over you. That doesn't equal to remaining silent when you have to make yourself heard. Calmness is not weakness. It's mastery. It's understanding when to speak, how to speak, and what your intention is behind every word. When you're under stress, whether it's at work, at home, in relationships, or in the midst of an altercation, your ability to respond rather than react is the thing that keeps things from getting out of hand. Reactions are instinctive, they're reflexive, they're emotional. But responses are thoughtful, they're measured, they're reflective, and they're almost always better. Because when the emotions get high, the reasoning gets low. You can't make rational decisions during a storm if you just are the storm. Mind training to be calm allows you to see clearly. You start to see patterns. You start to notice what is really going on behind one's words or action. You can ask yourself, what just was said? What is the true reason for this? Instead of making it all about you, such clarity gives you leverage. It gives you control as to how you want the situation to go. Most importantly, it protects your energy. You're going to encounter folks who try to upset you. You're going to encounter obstacles that try your patience. But each time you keep calm, you're sending a message, not to others, but to yourself. You're stating, I'm responsible here. I decide how I act. I won't get taken out of character for anybody or anything. Self-discipline like that makes you feel confident. That kind of discipline builds trust. And people will learn in time, they can't bait you. They can't manipulate you. They can't knock you loose because you no longer just react. You respond. You select peace. You select control. You select growth. When the world around you is speeding along, when pressure mounts and everything seems important right now, there's something incredibly powerful about standing still. It doesn't imply doing nothing. It implies being centered, because stillness isn't avoiding action. It's creating enough mental space to choose the right action. Calmness is what opens the door to clarity, and clarity is what positions you in power in any given situation. If your mind is clouded with emotion, panic, or noise, you'll lose focus on what's important. You'll react without thought, speak without understanding, and walk without direction. But when you slow down mentally, emotionally, you can begin to perceive things for what they truly are. That's where your power is. Most people are living moment to moment with their minds full of clutter. Their thoughts are thunderous. Their emotions are thunderous. They have no awareness that the thunder in them is louder than the thunder around them. And when your mind is thunderous, you're unable to hear wisdom. You're unable to hear your intuition. You're unable to hear truth. That's why calmness is not merely a nice feeling. It's a survival strategy. It's what allows you to strip away the noise and access the signal. It's what allows you to step back and say, what's really going on here? What am I missing because I'm too close to the problem? Unless you slow down and calm the head noise. And it's not about selecting better choices. It's about staying the course of who you are. Because when your mind is spinning, when your emotions are burning, you're going to do things you'll regret. You talk out of rage. You react out of fear. You act out of pressure, not principle. But when your mind is clear, you remember your values. You do with purpose. You communicate with precision. That's when you stop living on defense and start living on offense, not reacting to life, but moving with purpose and clarity. Clarity is not loud. It speaks softly. And only in the quiet of a clear mind can you hear it. That moment of silence before you speak, that moment before you act, that's where you develop. That's where maturity enters. It's easy to let desperation push you into mistakes. It's easy to let powerful situations push you into making dumb decisions. But it takes strength to stop in the middle of it all and say, let me think, let me breathe. Let me understand before I move. That's not indecision, that's wisdom. And the more that you're able to practice this quiet, the more natural it will feel. It doesn't mean you'll never be emotional. It doesn't mean that you don't feel the weight of things. It simply means that you've trained yourself to halt before you react. You've trained your mind to clear the fog so you can see where you're going. And in that gap, between stimulus and response, you gain control. You decide how you look. You decide your energy. You determine your next move, not because you're pressured, but because you know that's how you're sharp when things turn messy. That's how you're a leader when people are lost. Because people respond to clarity. They respond to it. And when they see you operating from a place of centeredness and clarity, even as everything around you is going up in flames, they'll admire that. Not because you had all the answers, but because you maintained your thinking sharp enough to make sense out of it. So don't sell short the value of stillness. It's not the lack of motion. It's the presence of discipline. It's the inner fortitude to back away, silence the din, and permit clarity to emerge. That clarity will direct your decisions, mold your actions, and safeguard your peace in ways reacting never will. Condition your own mind to be calm, and the clarity will come naturally. Seeing in the middle of chaos doesn't qualify you as a calm mind. The calm mind is developed way before the chaos starts. You don't prepare for pressure by accident. You prepare because you prepared. You worked out. You did the unseen work. The same thing that an athlete never waits until he gets out to play the game to gain strength. You can't wait until life hits you to start gaining your peace. Quietness never just happens when you need it. It is something that you cultivate in quietness. Early morning hours, in quietness, when no one is watching. That's how you develop strength in the mind. People want to be calm under pressure, but they never take time to practice when there's no pressure. You've got to create space in your life for that inner work, for stillness, for discipline. That might mean sitting down with yourself for 10 minutes a day. No noise, no phone, no distractions, just breathing, being present, and learning to sit with your thoughts. That's training, that's reps. That's where calm begins. You won't notice results immediately. It's not large. It's not dramatic. But over time, that mental work compounds. Your tolerance grows. Your reactions decelerate. Your head calms. And if the world ever erupts around you, you're ready because you already practiced in silence. The ones who stay resolute in chaos, the ones who propel when others falter. These individuals didn't simply get lucky. They've been rehearsing behind the scenes. They've established routines that protect their serenity. They read, they reflect, they journal, they sit alone. They work on their breath. They protect their mornings. They maintain their energy. It's not a coincidence. It's intentional. It's a lifestyle. If you desire to be grounded when everything falls apart, you've got to develop your roots deep when times are calm. Because the thing is here, life is going to knock you around. It's going to hit you head on. And if all your strategy is to hope I stay calm, you're going to break. You need equipment. You need drills. You need that mental preparation and reserve already in motion, already prepared. Meditation, mindfulness, reflection, all of these are methods, not just for moment by moment peace, but for preparation before the moment. They help you exit the chaos and recall what matters. They give you the foresight that your feelings try to do for you when you're in the thick of it. You can't wait until your house is on fire to build a fire escape. You build it now, quietly, day by day. You have to honor the process. You don't get to witness the tree grow, but it is growing. The same with your peace. You might not notice change right away. You might still get angry sometimes. You might still feel overwhelmed. Okay, stay with it. Keep attending to your practice. Keep sitting with you. Keep breathing through the pain. Every time you push past the urge to react, every time you opt for stillness instead of chaos, you're honing the edge. You're building a foundation for impenetrable strength. Calm is a way of life. It's not a one-time fix. It's a commitment to showing up for yourself every single day, especially when no one is watching, especially when things are already going well. Because that's when you set the bricks that will ground you when all hell breaks loose. So don't wait for the storm. Train now, in the quiet, in the mundane. That's where peace is created. And when the storm finally comes, and one day it will come, you won't be frantic. You'll walk with dignity, with intention, with strength, because you didn't merely fantasize about peace. You trained for it. You trained for it. Every hard time you push through is more than just a test. It's an opportunity to learn discipline, to strengthen your mind, to practice your peace. You notice most people run from pain. The moment things get hard, they freak out, whine, strike out, or give up. But the thing they don't get is that each stressful second, every obstacle, every pressure moment is the best possible spot to develop. It's the gym for your mind. And just like you build muscle by lifting heavy weights, you build mental toughness by bearing pressure with grace. It's easy to stay calm when everything's going your way, when it all works out, when you're all being treated nicely, when all goes swimmingly. Yes, you are at peace, but that is not development. That is not coaching. Development doesn't happen in comfort zones. Development happens in the fire. And when that flame comes, when you meet someone who doesn't treat you right, when you feel like you're being misunderstood, when plans aren't panning out or life is coming at you in a direction you don't anticipate, that's your time. That's your reputation. That's your training ground. Don't waste it by reacting out of emotion. Use it to rise. Use it to make the version of yourself that you're building stronger. Every time you see frustration building up within you, stop. Every time you need to yell, need to give up, need to strike out, stop. That's where the creation happens. That's the moment in time when you choose who's boss your emotions or your self-discipline. And when you choose discipline, even once, you tell yourself, I'm boss now. I don't require the world to be peaceful in order for me to stay peaceful. That's how you flip it. That's how you flip it. That's how you train in pressure. You don't attempt to steer clear of the tough times. You lean into them intentionally. You've got to shift how you look at tough moments. Instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? Think, what is this trying to teach me? Instead of groaning, I can't handle this gripe. This is my warm up. You're not just surviving stress. You're building yourself up through stress. You're becoming tougher in your mind. And the more you build it up, the less it's going to get to you. And the next thing you know, the things that used to shatter you don't even jolt you. The situations that before robbed you of your peace no longer disturb you because you've worked out on tougher. You've loaded more weight. You've done the work when it was difficult. And let's be honest, this has nothing to do with becoming numb. It has nothing to do with pretending that you don't care. It has to do with learning how to carry the weight without snapping under the pressure. It's not about feeling the pressure, but choosing not to let it control you. That's what sets the weak from the strong. Not how they act when everything is going according to plan, but how they behave when everything that can go wrong is going wrong. When life is loud, the most gentle voice is the one that people will follow. Be that voice. Be that presence. And the next time you become overwhelmed, don't think of it as a setback. Think of it as a setup for growth, a setup to practice in order to strengthen your patience, your self-discipline, your clarity. This isn't happening to break you. This is happening to shape you, to cut away the part of you that reacts and awaken the part of you that leads. Stay calm, stay centered, stay disciplined. Each battle is a chance to make your mind stronger. Take the rep, take the lesson, and keep growing more powerful. One of the hardest things to learn, but one of the biggest freedoms, is that peace doesn't come from everything going the way you want it to. It doesn't come from perfect outcomes or continuous validation. True peace comes when you know how to let go of what you can't control. That's the foundation of peace. That's the core of inner strength. Detachment, you see, does not mean that you don't care. It doesn't mean that you don't work hard or that you don't love or that you don't strive for excellence. Detachment means you care deeply, but you are not a slave to what happens. You do your best, but you don't attach your identity, your mood, or your peace to what comes next. So many people get through life anxious, stressed, always in a state of overwhelm, not because life's inherently awful, but because they've attached their emotions to things that they can't control. They're upset when someone responds to something in a way that they didn't want them to. They lie awake at night caring what other people think. They berate themselves about things that were never in their control in the first place. That's not strength. That's slavery of the emotions. That's losing your peace as if it weren't your own. But the moment that you do allow yourself to let go, to loosen the need for control, the need for results always to be what you want, that's the moment you take back your power. And once more, it has nothing to do with not caring. It has nothing to do with being apathetic. It has to do with maturity. Detachment is, I will be there with full attention. I will love us fully. I will give with all I have, but I will not lose it if it doesn't work for me. I will not lose myself in trying to control that which I never should have been trying to control. That is a different gauge of freedom. That is a different kind of power. Let's say you submit the application, you perform at your best during the interview, and yet the offer does not come. People generally go crazy. They are equating their worth to that. No, but the individual whose mind has been conditioned to keep calm, they think otherwise. They are telling themselves, I did my best. The rest was not mine to bear. That frame of mind protects your confidence. That mindset allows you to just keep going forward instead of getting stuck in anger, fear, or self-doubt. You let go not because you're uncaring, because you care enough about yourself that you know your value isn't based on outcome. When you let go of outcome, you're more present. You hear better. You accomplish more. You're not in your head plotting how to get the outcome or fixated on the end game. You're present. You're working with ease and peace, not fear. And in a curious way, that's when more effective results become visible because you're not attached to them. You're not chasing after them out of fear. You're moving with intention and flow. So many are trapped in this never-ending loop of overthinking because they have not yet learned the art of releasing. They're forever trying to control how others perceive them, to be aware of what's on the agenda next, to push reality into their exact plan. And the more they try to hold life in their palms, the farther away it slips. But when you let go attachment, you breathe for the very first time. You finally rest. You finally let life happen without trying to control it. And that peace, that faith, that's not weakness, that's wisdom. Let go of outcomes, let go of opinions, let go of needing everything to be perfect. You'll still care. You'll still work hard. But now you'll come from a place of freedom, a place of quiet confidence, a space of profound inner peace, because your peace no longer resides in results. It lives inside you. Your peace is your power. Make it like it's everything, because it is. In this life, every single person is attempting to pull you in many different directions. People will try to impose their fear on you, draw you in with their drama, push you to get a rise out of you. Life will punch you with unexpected problems, delays, setbacks, some minuscule, some gigantic. And in the midst of all that noise, if you don't watch your peace, you'll lose yourself. You'll be drained, scattered, disconnected from who you really are. That's why you've got to defend your peace with your life, because in so many respects, it is. Peace isn't good feeling. Peace is clear thinking. Peace is being able to make a choice without being intimidated by fear, anxiety, or frustration. When your mind is peaceful, your vision is clear. You no longer respond rashly. You respond. You no longer chase everything that is not in harmony with what is important to you. You start moving with a sense of direction. That's what peace does. It gives the space to move with strength, not caution. But peace doesn't come automatically. You don't find it. You make it, you protect it, you fight for it. And that means establishing boundaries, not just with the rest of the world, but with your own thoughts. You have to know how to say no. No to excess drama. No to too much thinking. No to bad vibes. No to behaviors that drain your time and your attention. It's not selfish. It's survival. It's knowing that you don't need to pay attention to everything. Not every argument demands your reply. Not every opinion deserves your response. Your energy is too valuable to invest in what does not nurture you. A lot of people think peace is passivity, avoiding conflict, but that is not. Peace is choosing when to engage. It's about standing firm where it matters and letting go of the rest. It's about being so committed to your growth, your purpose, your goals, that you can't fit chaos in. You're too set, too rooted, too on purpose. That is the kind of peace that cannot be stopped. Not because you're louder, not because you're more forceful, but because nothing can disturb your center. That serene energy, that is your armor. And you know what else occurs? When you protect your peace, you change your environment. You're the one who alters the vibration in the room. People feel it. Your energy speaks before you have to say a word. You're not rattled by every little thing. You don't break down under stress. You don't crack under the weight of life. That kind of energy demands respect. That kind of energy earns influence. But as soon as you stop protecting your peace, the minute you leave the door open to the noise, you start working from survival instead of strategy. You start rushing instead of thinking. You start doubting instead of believing. That is why it is so important that you protect your mind, your routine, your space. Be ruthless about what you let in, because once your peace is gone, everything else starts falling apart too. Your focus, your patience, your creativity, your joy. So protect your peace. Take it seriously. Build habits that restore you. Surround yourself with people who fill your cup. Rest when you need to. Ground yourself in your values. And most importantly, don't be sorry for prioritizing your well-being, because the more rooted your peace is, the better your choices will be. The steadier your mind becomes, the stronger your life becomes. So protect your peace, not every now and then, but daily, like your life depends on it, because it does. You said there's something magnetic, almost irresistible, about someone who stays calm when everyone else is losing their mind. When it's hot and heavy, emotions are running high, and no one is getting what they desire. Most people break down, they freak out, they lash out, they become reactive, emotional, unstable. But the one who doesn't crack, the one who keeps their head, who keeps their cool, they become the anchor, they become the benchmark. The world observes them, and not just observes, they emulate, because humans do not obey anarchy, they obey poise. You see, in a crisis, leadership is not about having the biggest personality in the room. It is not about issuing orders or acting macho. Real leadership is being the person who remains steady. When you remain calm when it is hot, you show that you're built differently. Not because you do not feel the heat, because you won't let the heat control you. That sort of calmness doesn't appear often, and everything unusual carries value. Your calm is your money. It commands respect. It builds trust. People want to be near you because your energy gives them a sense of safety, a sense of confidence. You're the person that people come to. No longer because you have all the answers, but because you simply behave as if you are not afraid of the question. Not being anxious under pressure does not mean you're passive. It means you're disciplined. It means that you've trained your mind to keep pace while the world speeded up. It means you don't allow pressure create carelessness. It means you're the one while the rest of the world is losing their minds, scanning the room for what it reveals, planning your next move with laser like focus. That's strength. That's mastery. That's power. And this piece, it's not something you need to promote. It speaks for itself. It's intuited. When you walk into a room and your energy is stable, your voice is steady, your eyes are clear, people know. They might not show it, but they feel it. And that presence, that's leadership. That's influence. That's what puts you ahead in business, in relationships, in life. Because clear minds lead to good decisions. Calm leaders lead calm teams. Calm people walk with purpose, not panic. Now, don't get confused. Calm doesn't mean emotionless. It doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you don't feel pressure. It means you've trained yourself not to let those emotions take over. You've trained yourself to know when to feel everything, but choose your response wisely. That's emotional intelligence. That's maturity. That's a person who's not merely reacting to life, but actively building it. And here's what's true. Anybody can construct that presence. You don't have to be born with it. You don't have to be the most experienced person in the room. You simply have to be the most disciplined. You simply have to train your mind to stay focused, grounded, and steady, especially when it matters most. Undefinable, when everything is fine, it's easy to remain calm. But when pressure comes, when people start snapping, when things turn crazy, that's when your calmness makes you stand out. That's when you show that you were meant for greater things. So don't try to be the noisiest. Be the most sober. Do not attempt to be feared. Attempt to be respected. And make your calm your leadership. Let it speak out when all else is screaming. Let it move when all else is stagnant. Because when you can stay calm in the midst of chaos, not only do you rise, you lift everyone else up alongside you. And that right there makes you unforgettable.